Angelina Jolie was returning home early in the morning after dropping her children off at school. A thin snow was falling outside, and even the busy streets of Los Angeles were silent. An email on her mobile phone caught her attention. The sender was a nurse from a refugee camp she had visited in Syria a few years ago. What was written in the email made Angelina fall into a deep silence. "Noura, do you remember her? 10-year-old orphan girl. Her condition has deteriorated. If there is no help, we will lose her." Angelina immediately remembered Noura, whom she had met in the refugee camp. The fear in the little girl's eyes, the determination to survive despite her losses. Noura's health was deteriorating rapidly. Angelina could not ignore this call. The ambulance with Angelina and Noura had to cross the conflict zone and reach the runway, but they encountered roadblocks along the way. The vehicle was frequently stopped and questioned by armed groups. Noura's face was completely pale. They did not have a moment to lose. Angelina, in her characteristic calm but determined manner, approached the armed men and explained the situation. "This child is dying. If you don't want to help, at least don't get in the way." Finally, the sun was about to set when the ambulance reached the runway. The pilot said the aircraft was running low on fuel and the weather conditions were worsening. They quickly carried Noura onto the plane. However, at the moment of takeoff, the engine stopped for a short time. Angelina and the whole crew held their breath. When the engine restarted, everyone had tears in their eyes. The plane managed to take off from the runway, albeit slowly. The weather conditions worsened along the way. The plane was shaking with turbulence, and everyone in the small cabin was praying. Angelina did not let go of Noura's hand for a moment. The words, "You smell like mummy," from the little girl's lips made Angelina unable to hold back her tears. "Promise me you will live," Angelina said in a trembling voice. Turning point, the light of coming back to life. When they landed in a safe city in Europe, everyone took a deep breath. The ambulance quickly handed Noura over to waiting doctors. As Angelina watched Noura being treated, she thought about the meaning of that moment. A child's chance at life was so precious that any risk was worth taking. Angelina had mobilized all her resources to get little Noura out of Syria, but the obstacles she faced were increasing by the minute. The first major problem was the intensification of fighting in the war zone. Most of the roads used to leave the area were either blocked or filled with explosives. The seriousness of the moment was realized when a local guide working with Angelina said, "Leaving here is a mortal risk." Meanwhile, Noura's condition was deteriorating. The little girl's breathing became labored and her body weak. The doctor's calls for urgent intervention echoing through the hospital corridors made Angelina feel helpless. As she held the girl's hands, for a moment, hundreds of children she had met over the years flashed before her eyes. But this time was different. If she could not save Noura, it would remain a deep wound in her heart. Time was running out to find a solution. Angelina's team contacted a local pilot. The pilot said he had a small and agile aircraft that could get out of the conflict zone, but it was an extremely dangerous mission. The airspace was not under control, and the runway was almost unusable. Without hesitation, Angelina said, "We'll take the risk. We have no other choice for Noura to live." After months of treatment, Noura came back to life. Her weak body regained strength, her smile was restored. Angelina focused not only on her medical recovery, but also on Noura's emotional recovery. She introduced her to her own children, gave her a new life. A year later, Noura wrote a book telling her story. The foreword to the book included these words, "You saved me not only from illness, but also from fear and loneliness. You loved me like a mother. Thank you, Angelina." Angelina Jolie was not only a film star or a famous figure, but also a person who made a difference with the lives she touched. Noura's story reminded the world that empathy and love are a healing force even in the most difficult moments.